Hello and welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Social Studies. My name is Sarah and I'm excited to be back into some regular programming here on Mr. and Mrs. Social Studies YouTube channel. It's been quite a year, so we have not posted as much as we'd like, but we're going to be getting right back into it today with a video about 5 different strategies to help you leave school or stop working at contract hours. This video contains premises that we have been passionate about as educators for a long time, but it was also re-inspired by Pocketful of Primary's video recently about the same topic. I thought her video was great and I will link it below, but I also think there are some differences between an elementary perspective and a secondary teacher perspective, and so we wanted to share more of those today. The first strategy is to take a closer look and audit the way you're spending your time at school and monitor how these different tasks are making you feel. It's very possible you could cut something out of your schedule and open up a lot of time, especially if it's something that's not adding value. I know that in the second school that I worked at, I went to the teacher's lounge for lunch for a few days, but then ultimately realized I wasn't getting a lot of value out of it and just ended up eating lunch by myself in the room. Now, sure, at the surface level, maybe that sounds kind of sad, but I knew I wasn't really getting a lot of value from eating lunch with some of the other teachers, and some of them could be a bit more negative or complainy, and then it maybe made me feel worse. On the flip side, while I was eating lunch in my own classroom, I would play some music, I would still be pretty relaxed, I would enjoy the quiet time since I am more introverted, and I was also able to get some simple work done, such as taking care of emails and regular everyday little tasks that can build up as a teacher. It's also possible you find yourself going on your phone for longer than you'd like during a certain break or during your planning time, and maybe you'd benefit from setting a timer for how long you can be on your phone before getting back into work tasks to help you not waste that time during the school day. Tip number 2 is to focus on one key task during your planning time each day. Of course, there are little tasks that can come up, but some of the main tasks we deal with are planning, printing or copying or sharing files, posting them on Classroom. We might have to deal with grading. We might have to deal with different meetings or more administrative kind of tasks. And it can be helpful to really focus in on one of these during a certain planning period. Maybe you decide on Thursday and Friday you're going to focus on planning for the next week. Maybe Mondays and Tuesdays you're working more on the grading aspect of things. However you choose to set it up is fine, but having a clear schedule of, well, this is my routine. I take care of my grading during my planning time on these 2 days of the week. It's much more likely that you'll be able to make big progress on this because you don't have to wonder, well, what am I going to do today? You've got a plan and you can stick to it. Tip number 3 is to automate your to-do list for all of those small little tasks that must be done every day, but can be tedious and take up valuable brain power if you don't have a clear list. After a while, I found I was writing down the exact same items on my to-do list every day for the most part, and some of the items were such small tasks that I could finish them in 3 minutes or even 1 minute sometimes, but I didn't want to forget it and I wasn't able to do it, when I was first thinking about it. So I put together a to-do list that had all of these tasks pre-typed on the to-do list and a couple blanks where I could add in any unique tasks that came up for that day. Having these printed out was a lifesaver for me because I was able to work my way down that list very quickly, and it meant that I then had more time to truly focus on whatever that main priority was during my planning time after knocking out these tasks. If you're curious to see the exact template that I use for these to-do lists, I will leave it linked below so you can check it out for yourself if that's something that might be helpful. But I cannot recommend that tip enough for saving time. Tip number 4 is to schedule some accountability for yourself. It is so easy to have a plan and then let that plan fall through, or say, well, I'm just going to stay, a half hour to get this task done. Or I'll feel better if I stay to do this. And before you know it, you've stayed far longer than you want, or you've gotten back into a bad habit of staying late every day. If we set up some accountability, however, we're not really able to do that. For me, I found carpooling was a great option because it held both of us accountable to leave right at contract time. Currently, however, my husband and I have walks scheduled in the afternoon after the school day, and because it's still the winter time and it gets dark so fast, we need to make sure we start the walk by 4 o'clock to be able to make the most of it. And so that's a way that holds us accountable because we are counting on each other to be done with work in time to go on this walk together. So I encourage you, if possible, see if there is some sort of accountability you can build in, either with other family members, other coworkers, to encourage you to leave at contract time or to stop working at contract time. Strategy number 5 is to switch up your instruction so there is less direct instruction and more small group time or one-on-one time with students. I do think this is easier to do at the secondary level because kids have a bit more autonomy and agency for themselves in general, but switching this up can make a huge difference. Rather than needing to spend all of your time with the whole group every day, let's say lecturing, you are shifting your focus so you can help individual students more directly and work with students more directly. This helps in a variety of ways. Number 1, if you're working with students more directly, you're better able to help them answer questions and prevent them from needing to send an email later and then you needing to reply to that email because you're communicating with them directly. You're also able to actually grade as you go. So I have had success with actually taking a look at my students' work while they're right there, in person or digitally. And from that point on, I'm able to tell them if there's anything that I think they should change or steer them in the right direction rather than needing to type that out in a comment, return it back to them, have them work on it on their own. I can directly do it right there. And if something looks good, I can make note of that particular grade then, and I know I don't have to look at it later. I did that during class time and in a way that was more meaningful for the students. A great option if you are, let's say, lecturing regularly for social studies would be to consider mixing it up. And one day, let's say you record a video of yourself teaching, and while other students are watching the video, that's where you could then be checking in with individual students in breakout rooms or in the class to help them with whatever they need help with. Doing less direct instruction can also be helpful in supporting our students and their development of new skills because they need to then take a more active role in their learning rather than just sitting back and listening. So it can be good teaching in general, but also save time. Let me know in the comments below if there are any tips that I missed that help you save time and leave work or stop working at contract hours. And I wish you the best as we continue through this crazy school year. If you are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe up here, and you can check out some of our past videos over here. We'll see you next time. Bye.